welcome to Klothys. As far as our opening hand goes, yeah, I think we'll keep on this one. I kind of like this. We've got two planeswalkers. We've got Nature's Lore. We've got four lands, which is very nice. And, nothing too crazy with this opening hand, but just a very nice assortment of value. So we will certainly take that. As far as leading off with anything, I don't really think anything in particular matters. And so we'll just go and lead off with a forest. And then anything else, pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Klothys, God of Destiny. Indestructible Devotion 7 turns into a creature. Then, at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a land card, add red or green to your mana pool. Otherwise, you gain 2 life, and Klothys deals 2 damage to each opponent. So you've got some free baby lightning helixes, which is a very nice thing. So opponent's going to go for Duress, and we'll see what they end up grabbing. Either way, I feel okay. But say the one thing that we want to keep would be Karn, because that's going to give us some nice card advantage. But at least Nissa, who shakes the world, that allows us to generate some extra mana, which will allow us to kind of maybe churn out some planeswalkers that we draw into. So let's go and go off for Forest. Let's go Nature's Lore, and we're going to grab ourselves a probably Cinderglade, because, Cinderblade's going to come into play untapped. Shelter Thicket, because either way, that's going to come into play untapped. And then we will pass the turn to our opponent. Play against Sig, River Cutthroat. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent lost 3 or more life this turn, you may draw a card. So, there we go. We did cover both commanders. It is officially free time. Let's have some fun. And also, this is a Good Morning Vietnam video. If you don't know, my wife and I, we had a baby. And so I have the morning shift. And so after I feed her, and put her back down before we take her out for the day, I do some recording while she's sleeping. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. I try to get myself to allow my voice to be warmed up. I really do, but sometimes I've got to jump into it, just because I've got X amount of time to do things. So, but let's go ahead and go for Klothys. One of the things that we want to do against our opponent is we want to kind of slowly chip away at their graveyard. That would be pretty nice. Let's go for Field of the Dead, because I do like having an active Field of the Dead. It may be a little bit before we have that happen, but it's really not that hard, even though we are only playing 2 colors in Gruul. So even at this point right now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 different lands. All we have to do is just draw into 2 more different lands, and that's going to have an active Field of the Dead, and then we can slowly start to get a lot of these zombies down. That's what makes Field of the Dead so good, is even though we're not running like a go low style lands deck where we're trying to get as many lands on the battlefield, if you set your mana base up correctly to where running different guild gates or whatever sort of dual sources that you're running, simply just tossing Field of the Dead in there, it's just kind of it's like free real estate, but free zombie real estate, which is kind of the best free real estate there is. So all right, so we're going to see Sig come down. It doesn't look like they're going to make the land drop for the turn, and if they don't, that sounds pretty good. They will have the activation from Smuggler's Copter to swing in and do a little bit of damage, but we're doing okay right now. Now, one of the things about us having Klothys kind of be a Super Friend style build is that Smuggler's Copter will be kind of a pain in the butt for a little bit. And so we do have some answers for that. We do have a Braid, and we've got a whole assortment of different things that we can kind of attack our opponents, or at least kind of keep them off the battlefield. So hopefully we draw into those sometime soon. So let's go and exile Vendilion Click from our opponent's graveyard. There we go. It's going to put them down to 29. And I think we just go Nissa. If we end up going Nissa, that's going to be extra mana for us. We're going to be able to have the 4. Cinderglade actually works out, because that's going to work towards our Field of the Undead, and it's going to come and play untapped. So yeah, let's do that. So let's go for Nissa. Main thing is that's just also going to force our opponent to kind of start swinging at Nissa instead of swinging in at us. So let's go ahead and plus up on this basic forest. I think at this point, yeah, we'll go and swing in. If this is going to be kind of like a damage race, I think I'm kind of okay with this. Let's go and swing in for 3. It's going to knock them down to 25, and then anything else, let's go and pass the turn. Now, one thing that we do want to watch out for is we're probably not going to plus up too many more lands. I at least want to get Nissa to about 7, because with Smuggler Copter, that's going to be, for some reason I thought Sig had a River Island Walk or something. But as long as we can get Nissa up to 7, or at least 1 more activation, that's going to give us a couple more turns to make sure that she does stick around. So that'll allow us to hopefully kind of, buy us a few extra turns, and also force the Smuggler's Copter to swing in at us, or at least swing in at Nissa, instead of getting that Sig River Cutthroat activation, or triggered ability. And then also, the other cool thing is if we do want to heavily invest into Nissa, I mean, that does leave us insanely open to a board wipe, and we'll have no lands, which I'm not super wild about. But if we don't really draw into anything next turn, that kind of puts us on this Field of the Dead forest game plan. So, I mean, if that's what we've got to do to to get it going, that's what we're going to try to go for. So, really, if we don't hit something next turn that's like any sort of card advantage or something that kind of refreshes our hand, we're probably just going to keep going on the Nissa game plan. That way, we can get as many creatures on the battlefield and just kind of just go over the top on our opponent. And that was a Psionic Blast that they discarded. And then Smuggler's Copters, oh, and they are swinging at Nissa. So that, yeah, that I do like that. So that way we can at least, yeah, once we plus up, that'll still buy us a little bit of extra time. And they're going to go for Thassa, God of the Sea, which is basically just upkeep and then unblockable. Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right, this is going to be indestructible creature. And then they're still stuck on 3 lands, which we will try to outrace. Ooh, Sylvan Awakening. Okay, so at this point, we don't really necessarily need that extra mana. But if we're going to try to time a Sylvan Awakening, that really does. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. So let's go and exile Sonic Blast. That way, yeah, because we just don't want them to be able to flash that back for some reason. So we're going to exile that. And that's the other good thing about Klothys is, getting a free lightning, a baby lightning helix every single turn. Um, it's a very good effect. Let's go ahead and plus up on, I guess we'll just plus up on a basic forest again. There we go. And let's start making sure that we can hopefully try to get some zombies on the battlefield. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then mountain will be 6. So let's go and push in for 6 with our 2 lands. And most of the time with Sylvan Awakening, they don't really they don't really see it coming, and so we'll see if we can't have that happen. So, anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So, the way we want to sequence this, so put 3 on, untap it, it becomes an elemental. So, one thing that we can do, we do have to tap down on 3 total mana to go for Sylvan Awakening. One of the good things is that we can at least tap down one of our forests, and that's going to add 2 mana with Nissa. Add an additional green to our mana pool, and then we can tap down something like Homeward Path or Field of the Dead. And then once we do that, we can use the +1 ability from Nissa to untap that same land. And so basically, just only go down on 1 land to swing in an attack. Now that's going to be a 2, 4, 6. All right, so they're going to fatal push on the land. At least we're getting some movement out of our opponent's hand. Yeah, if we're going to try to go for Sylvan Awakening. Yeah, we just need to get some more land drops on the battle. Sylvan Awakening is one of the best cards, especially if you have it in your opening hand or if you have it late game. When you've been able, all right, they're going to go for Ulcerate. They're burning the removal on this. The other good thing is, if they can't damage us out with us gaining this life, we're just slowly going to, we've got 6 points of damage in our opponent's graveyard right now. That's going to put them down to 8. Yeah, so I mean, we've got some options. So even if with a well-timed Sylvan Awakening, if we just keep making these land drops, we get a few more zombies down, we're still going to be a good spot. The only downside about them forcing the removal on some of our lands is it does kind of cut into our Field of the Dead triggers. But at this point, it kind of feels like we're in the driver's seat on this one, especially with the opponent not hitting their land drops. All right, so we're going to see Smuggler Copter swinging in, and it looks like Smuggler's Copter will be swinging in. Yeah, it's going to be attacked by, Nissa's going to be attacked by Smuggler's Copter. All right, that's going to put Nissa down to 1. So we can still go for one more Nissa activation, but we'll see. We'll see what we rip into. And our opponent does get down Skull Clamp, which is something that we don't really want to. Ooh, and Gurk Wildspeaker. Okay, so let's just do that. Let's just end up going for. We're going to try to get rid of the removal. Actually. Let's go for Duress, because if we're trying to set up a Sylvan Awakening, I want to make sure that they're not going to be able to flash back any sort of hand disruption. All right, 33, go down to 12. Let's have Mountain enter the battlefield. Yeah, and I guess we just go Gurk Wildspeaker. I don't like that. Yeah, Gurk Wildspeaker, because maybe they don't swing in at Nissa or something like that. Yeah, that's going to be double green from that. That's going to be 1, 2. And then 1, 2. Okay, and then we can go for the +1, untap up to 2 target land. That's going to be Cinder, and then also that. So that's going to put Gurk up to 4. Do we want to plus up on Nissa to turn one of these into a creature? You know what? I think we try to jam a Sylvan Awakening right now while the coast is clear. I like that. All right, so we're going to go double green. We're going to tap down Field of the Dead. They're all going to become 2/2 elementals. Let's go for the +1. Oh, they already turned into a creature. Excuse me. Okay. Let's still just go and get in for this little extra chunk of damage. So let's go and swing in. We got 6 coming across. That's going to put them down to 6. And what this is going to do, this is going to make it really easy. Yeah, for some reason. Oh, they become 2/2 elemental. So yeah, I'll kind of explain my my line of play that I was trying to do on that, and then anything else past the turn to our opponent. So I was going to tap down 2 mana for Sylvan Awakening, and then use Field of the Dead as the last colorless mana. And then while that was tapped, I was going to use Nissa to untap and target non-creature elemental or non-creature land, and I forgot that Sylvan just simply doesn't make him a 2/2, it makes him a 2/2 elemental creature. So that was a little bit of a sequencing error on my part, but we've got some good stuff going on our side of the battlefield. Opponent sitting at 6, we're going to have a Klothys trigger during their upkeep. That's going to Baby Lightning Helix them for 2, and then we're going to gain 2. Do kind of put our opponent in a weird position to where do they want to swing in at Gurk Wildspeaker? Do they want to swing in at Nissa because we go for that +1 on one of our lands? So we've got a pretty. I mean, considering the very severe lack of card draw that we've run into, to where we're just kind of just pinging our opponent out, and that's the good thing about Klothys is that with it being a 3 mana commander, it's pretty universal as far as whatever sort of build you want to go for. Simply just getting down Klothys, even in a situation, in a multiplayer setting, it may not be as good. I mean, it will be good because you can attack your opponent's life total, but in this particular setting, and especially in 1 versus 1 commander, simply just getting it down just to pick apart your opponent's graveyard is a pretty good feeling. So, enters the battlefield. You control black permanent. Target player loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. So they do have a black permanent with Sig. It's going to put us down to 31, and then down to 8. And so, we'll see what else they got going on. If we can somehow get Devotion for Klothys, that's going to be really good because we are very frightening close to Devotion for Klothys. We're sitting at 6. So if we just simply just get a permanent, whether it's a Planeswalker or a creature or something like that, that's going to make it to where we can swing in with Klothys. And especially, let's say our opponent wants to swing Smuggler's Copter at Guruk and then Sig at Nissa. Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. So Sig at Nissa. And then, because if we end up having an open -4, like a Stampede effect, then that's pretty good. And actually, our opponent's going to swing Smuggler's Copter at us. So that's going to leave an open Gurk Wildspeaker. All right, so if we get that well, actually, if we end up going for the ultimate, that will end up cutting Devotion off. So we'll see what we can assemble. All right, so it's going to be mana drain into the graveyard. They do end up getting rid of Nissa. And then we draw into Mizium Mortars. Okay. And I think at this point, we're just going to try to go for that. Yeah, so let's go... let's get rid of Into the Royal. That's going to be Lightning Helix for 2. And then Mizium Mortars for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that should be just enough that we're going to be able to go for. So that's going to clear out Parasitic and Sig. And that's really just going to slow their turn next turn, which is exactly what we want to do. In fact, let's just go and end up going for... So we can go for the +1, or we can create a Beast token. I think at this point, we're just cool with going for a Beast token. Yeah, let's do that. And let's go Mizium Mortars. That's going to clear them out, and then anything else past the turn over to our opponent. So they're going to have to recast their commander. They're still stuck on 3 lands, and so that's going to allow us to hopefully swing in with the Beast token and get some sort of damage in, whether they want to leave up Smuggler's Copter or start swinging in at Smuggler's Copter. Then at the very least, we just wait 3 turns and we Klothys our opponent out with triggers. So yeah, and especially with them making a land drop, if they want to go for Sig again, they're going to have to completely tap out for it. That's going to be 2 total mana. Oh, then Flashbag on Beast token. Okay, that's... we can make that work. And I think they can still crew up... yeah, I was supposed to say they can crew that Flashbag in response to that. So, very tight line of play right there by our opponent. So it's going to be an active... yeah, we'll sacrifice the Beast token. Smuggler's Copter can get rid of Gurk Wildspeaker, but we'll see what they end up doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We actually have 6 different lands, so we are getting to the zombie part of the game, to where if we get into... even though... it is late game, it's about to be turn 8. We do want to see some sort of action. So that way, if we do just run into something other than a mountain or a forest, fetch land would be ideal, but that's going to allow us to really kind of start turning out these zombies. So, and that's the cool thing about Klothys, is that Klothys is very much like Deathrite Shaman, in that Klothys is just a good universal commander. Whatever sort of idea you want to go for, she's really going to enable you to just kind of smooth some of your draws out and help you kind of transition yourself into the late game. Whether, I don't know how many Klothys triggers we've done, but it's really putting, just getting those baby lightning helixes really helps kind of push it. So even if we're going barbarian tribal, if we wanted to go gruel, elf tribal with burn, I mean, whatever that may be, we've got some really good options with Klothys because just picking apart your opponent's graveyard and gaining life and damaging their life at the same time. You can see, we're at our same life total, and it's 7 total life. So, highly recommend getting Klothys if you haven't picked it up yet. So, or if it's on your radar, put it on your radar because, ooh, the Prismatic Vista. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so we're going to end up going for. We just want to get rid of the spot removal. So let's go Ulcerate. That's going to be an extra damage up top. Put them down to 4. Let's go Prismatic Vista, which is going to give us a very nice zombie on the battlefield. And unfortunately, with Prismatic Vista, once we crack that, that's going to be only a basic land, which I don't have any snow basics in here. So we're going to just go and pass the turn and then hold on to that until we can, because if we crack that, that'll put us back down to 6. So we'll see if, right now we've got lethal because if they don't leave up Smuggler's Copter, or they leave up Sig, we can swing it with the 2/2 zombie and then knock them down to 2 and then Klothys our way out of this one. So we'll see what they're going to do. Since this is kind of the late game and we're both kind of in top deck mode, I'm going to let them go this turn and then I'll jump into commentary. Okay, and our opponent's going to go for a Demonic Tutor. So let's see what's... and we have no answers. We have no cards in hand, so we'll see what's in store for us. All right, they end up going for Wasteland, and that's probably going to be Wasteland. Yeah, Wasteland on Field of the Dead. Is there anything that we can, even if we crack Prismatic Vista, because that's going to put us down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's still going to end up being 6 lands. Yeah, that's going to be fine. At least we'll just go and float the mana in response to that. So, but if that's what they had to do with their Demonic Tutor, was Demonic Tutor for Wasteland to stop Field of the Dead, I feel pretty good about this game. And I know this isn't a fancy game. This isn't like we just blew our opponent out, but it is a good indication of what Klothys is capable of, especially when the game's not cooperating with you as far as card advantage and drawing into good stuff. It really does. And actually, let's go ahead and go for... We're going to crack Prismatic Vista in response to that Phyrexian Revoker because they can name that with Phyrexian Revoker. So we just don't want that to happen. So let's grab ourselves a forest. Let's enter the battlefield. And I'm not really sure what else they're going to be able to go for with Phyrexian Revoker naming that. I mean, it's a triggered ability. If they wanted to go Homeward Path to gain control of Klothys, that might be. We'll see. If they name Homeward Path, that would be kind of scary. Because that would be almost... Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they end up going for. All right, they're going to name Chandra Torch of Defiance, which we actually do have that in the deck. So our opponent did... That was a very good educated guess by our opponent, too. There's a lot of times in Magic to where if you have something like Phyrexian Revoker, use the cards that you've seen before, or seen so far. We've seen Amizium. Ooh, Croson Grip. Okay. Let's do this. So let's go ahead and exile... Fatal Push. That's going to pop our opponent. And I think what we can do is... I think with Split Second, I don't think they can activate Phyrexian Revoker on Smuggler's Copter. So let's let this trigger resolve. And I think that's going to be game. We'll see. Let's see. Croson Grip on Phyrexian Revoker. If it's Split Second, yep, there we go. All right, let's go and push in for 2. That's going to knock them down to 0. There we go. Beautiful top deck. That Croson Grip puts them all the way down to 0. So, there we go. This wasn't the most exciting win with Klothys. This wasn't the most, like, wow, I need to go build it. But it was a very good indication of what Klothys is capable of. You can see where we got into top deck mode. We were trying to push a Field of the Dead. Our opponent was kind of slow on lands, but, we didn't have much going on our side of the battlefield either. In fact, we never even had Devotion available for Klothys. So, it just goes to show you that having that extra Lightning Helix, the baby Lightning Helix, every single turn available to you is such a good thing in Commander, just because that effect just adds up. And there's just a lot of times to where, you may not really, get down Klothys as quickly as possible. Let's say you have Lano War Elves, you have another mana ramp, you get it out on turn 2. Next thing you know, you get to turn 8, you've dealt like 6, that's going to be like 12 points of damage to your opponent, and you've gained 12 life. And that's more than enough to, in a stalemate game like this, or a game that's very stagnant, that's going to allow you to win the game. And that's the good thing about Klothys, is that in a stalemate game, she's going to let you win the game. And then if you do have a lot of good stuff going on, that's just going to help you propel yourself to win that much quicker. But anyways, thank you for sticking around for this video. Wasn't the most exciting out there, but feels good to just slowly kind of grind it out like that. And if you enjoyed the video, hey, actually, no, excuse me. I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye. Welcome to Klothys. As far as our opening hand goes, yeah, I think we'll keep on this one. Sounds like a pretty, yeah, we do have Life from the Loam in here too, so yes, we will keep on this one. So gamble for Life from the, oh man, this is, yeah, the more I look at the hand, the more I love it. This is going to be perfect. So we're playing against Sit Triplets too, which should be a pretty fun game. And we'll jump into our commanders here in just a second. Let's get our turn one going. And I think what we'll end up doing is, let's go Catacombs. Yeah, I just don't want to whiff on Soul Ring. That's going to be something that I would hate to whiff on. So let's have Taiga Uppercut enter the battlefield, and let's go for Soul Ring. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over. Opponent, we're playing Klothys, God of Destiny. If that is wrong, I do apologize. I butchered the English language, even though it's my first language. I kind of have dyslexia, actually, to be honest. It's hard for me to... My brain sounds stuff out in my head, but it's wrong. If that makes sense. If you have dyslexia, that kind of makes sense. That it does sound it out. I do sound out words in my head, but it just comes out. The way it's processed is kind of wrong. I think, do we still end up gambling? Yeah, let's gamble for Life from the Loam. This is going to be good. We do have a good recursion setup in here, and I'll kind of talk about that in a second. So let's grab ourselves a Life from the Loam. Where are you, partner? There we go. Let's see. Oh, dang it. The one card we didn't want to go was Wheel of Fortune, but that's okay. Let's go Temple of Abandon. I think that'll be good. Let's go Temple of Abandon. Let's get a Scry and a Scurry going. Just a little bit of Fever and some Insanity. Sylvan Awakening. That's going to be a great late game card, so let's just go and put that on the bottom for right now. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass turn over our opponent. Playing Klothys, God of Destiny. Indestructible, Devotion 7 turns into a creature. Then at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a land card, add red or green to your mana pool. Otherwise, you gain 2 life, and Klothys deals 2 damage to each opponent. And that was a Phyrexian Metamorph. Entering the battlefield is a copy of Soul Ring. So there we go. We've got Life from the Loam in the hand. How do we want to set this up? So we've got Pirate's Pillage, and then we've got a Tranquil Thicket Cycle. I think that'll be good. Then we got Gurk Wildspeaker, which would be some pretty good devotion once we get that set up. I think what we want to do is just get a Beast token going. I mean, we are staring down Sin Triplets potentially sometime soon. Yeah, I guess we do that. Yeah, because I'd hate for them to gain control of our turn, then Pirate's Pillage or something like that. So let's do this. Let's go Force. Let's go for Gurk Primal Hunter, and then we'll go for Klothys next turn. Yeah, I kind of like this. All right, let's go Gurk Primal Hunter. Let's get a Beast token on the battlefield, and then anything else, pass turn over our opponent. So playing against Sin Triplets, the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. This turn, that player can't cast spells or activated abilities and plays with their hands revealed. You may play cards from that player's hand this turn. So basically what we're trying to do is just deplete our hand until we can no longer have good stuff for them to do anything with. So let's go and swing in for 3. I'm just going to knock them down to 25. What we're going to try to do is basically just kind of slow roll our opponent. Not necessarily slow roll, but just kind of, send the Beast token in every single turn, wait for them to deal some sort of action or crack some cards out of their hand. In fact, let's see if we can get any sort of action for Klothys. That's going to be 1, 2, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3. That'll still keep us open on Tormenting. All right, we're going to get Klothys to stick. So let's go Tormenting Voice, I think. Yeah, let's do that. So we go Tormenting Voice, and we can discard Life from the Loam, which is pretty much where we want it anyway. And we're going to be able to draw 2 cards. I don't think we really want to dredge Life from the Loam right now. Yeah, we'll do one of them. That way we make sure that we're making our land drops. And then we run into Tireless Tracker. Okay. And then we do have the Gurk activation to go for. Yeah, I think we just start working towards this ultimate. I mean, that's going to give us something to work for with Sin Triplets and Vampiric Tutor. Okay. We'll see what they're going to end up grabbing off of that, and hopefully get that Beast token on the battlefield and be good to go from there. So we did cover both commanders. It is, if you're keeping score at home, hey, it's officially free time. We can have some fun. Now, what are we doing with Klothys? What I decided to kind of take this build was almost kind of like a Super Friends style build. One of the things that makes Klothys such a good commander card, or at least your commander, is that you're just going to be able to get it down, and it's just like a rotisserie chicken. You just set it and forget it. You get Klothys down, you're going to be able to have Klothys give you that that extra, exile effect out of your opponent's graveyard or your graveyard, giving that extra mana. And then once you get the devotion going, you're good to go. You're going to be able to swing in with the 4/5 indestructible. With her being indestructible, if you have enough planeswalkers. Oh, dang it! I meant to cycle that Tranquil Thicket, but I double tapped F2. Okay, sorry about that. A little bit of a misplay on my part. All right, so let's go ahead and exile. I think we just exile Vampiric too. I don't mind kind of keeping their graveyard under check. I mean, that's going to be pretty good. So, all right, we're going to go for the God of Destiny trigger. And you could see how good, just kind of popping your opponent turn after turn like that. That's going to really work out. So let's have a Tireless Tracker come down. That's going to be 1/2, because the other good thing about Tireless Tracker is that's going to allow us to make some of these land drops out of the graveyard, which is going to be very, very nice. So let's go and swing in for 6. Let's see if we can't get some action of our opponent's hand first before we do some of our activations. There we go. They're going to tap down for 2. All right, go for the throw. I will certainly take that. It's going to kind of clear the way for us next turn. Let's go on swing in for 6. Knock them down to 15. And what I think we'll probably end up doing is Crucible of Worlds is going to allow us to make land drops out of the graveyard. And we haven't... So we've got the... We haven't made a land drop for the turn. No, we have not. Okay, so we haven't made a land drop for the turn. So let's go Crucible of Worlds. And then we can play a land out of the graveyard. So let's do that. So let's grab ourselves Rootbound Crag, because it's going to enter the battlefield untapped. Yeah, because we've got Taiga Booklet. And then we will, this turn, go for Tranquil Thicket. So, all right, there we go. Anything else will pass the turn. So this is pretty much what, especially against Sin Triplets, this is what you want to do. Our opponent's trying to get Sin Triplets down and take advantage of cards in our hand. If we can just deplete all the stuff in our hand, or just leave something like Pirate's Pillage, they've only got 3 cards in their hand. They may not want to end up going for that. And we're slowly working towards that Guruk -6, because if we need to get to that -6 with Guruk, that's going to be create a 6/6 green worm creature token for each land that you control. That is going to be very nice for us. So if we can get that to happen, and this turn we will end up going for Tranquil Thicket cycle. I will not forget. But yeah, we do need to watch out for Cyclonic Rift. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we are in Cyclonic Rift territory. We'll see. That's going to be a bummer if that happens. It's not going to be the end of the game, but it's not the best if that ends up happening. And then Nature's Lore. Okay, so let's go ahead and exile. We are playing against Esper, so if we can just keep our opponent's graveyard under check, that's what we want to do. So that's going to put them into 13. We go down to 33. Let's have Field of the Dead, because it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's just do that. So we'll end up going Field of the Dead. That way it's going to allow us to get a few extra zombies going at some point in the game. And we don't really, unfortunately, we don't have any devotion. So let's go for, I guess, Life from the Loam? Yeah, I kind of like that. So we end up going Life from the Loam on Pirate's Pillage, because we might want to end up going for this -3 at some point. Let's go Pirate's Pillage. And we're going to discard a card. Let's get rid of Catacombs. We're going to be able to draw 2 cards and get a couple treasure tokens. Main reason we're doing this main phase right now is if they've got any sort of way to kind of disrupt this, or maybe they're trying to wait for Cyclonic Rift. I want to get this stuff done now. That way we can maybe go for a -3 with Guruk Primal Hunter. That way, because once we have this trigger on the stack, that'll end up working out. Okay, so they're actually going to end up going for Mystic Confluence. Counter that spell unless they pay 3, and then return both of the beast tokens. Okay, so we're not going to be able to pay for that. We will not. And it's going to send it back. Let's have, we can cycle Tranquil Thicket, I think. Now, how do we want to, yeah, we definitely want to create a beast token. That's kind of what we're going for right now, because we know the creatures. And then since we've already made the land drops, let's just go ahead and pass the turn over our opponent. So we're going to try to cycle this Tranquil Thicket during our opponent's turn. We do have the -6 from Guruk. We'll decide if we want to end up going for that. I mean, because if we get Devotion for Klothys, we're at 5. We just need 2 more Devotion. That's going to turn Klothys online. And then, drawing 4 is better than 3. It just kind of depends on how our opponent decides to set this turn up, because they've got full grip. They've got 8 cards in the hand, so we'll see what's in store for us. Now, if they do end up tapping out for Sin Triplets, but it looks like they're pushing past Blatant Thievery. For each opponent, gain control of target permanent. Oh, that stings the nostrils. Oh, goodness. I bet that's what our opponent grabbed with that Vampiric Tutor. Oh, all right, we're cycling. We gotta find something. All right, we're not gonna do Life from the Loam because that didn't help us out. Mana Crypt, a little late to the party there, partner. Let's see. Nope, we need extra stomping ground does not get it done. Let's exile blatant thievery. Oh goodness. If we can get some Field of the Dead triggers going, maybe? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we go Nature's Lore, double green. Yeah, because we end up grabbing Sheltered Thicket. That's going to be a zombie. And as long as we just keep making land drops, so we'll be good. And in fact, let's go and crack Arid Mesa. We might be able to ground this one out. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have Cinder Glade come down. And I don't think we need to go for Mana Crypt right now. I hate to give our opponent Mana Crypt. I'd rather just get rid of everything out of our hand. So there we go. All right, we're going to have a Mana Crypt come down. And then we're only looking at, yeah, not a whole lot of devotion. So let's just go and pass the turn. So at this point right now, they've got 5 total creatures out there. 5, 6, 6 beast. And so we're looking at them being able to swing in, deal a pretty good chunk. I mean, that's gonna be, thankfully, we can survive a complete swing in and then still try to, on the back end, try to block. We do have an extra zombie coming down with a stomping ground for next turn. We just really need to draw into something, trying to figure out what we could rip into that would really help us out. You know, we do have some board wipes in here. We have Hour of Devastation, different things like that, but we're not really set up to deal with 6/6s, to be perfectly honest. But God, what a beautiful play by our opponent. I cannot stress how nice it is in Magic to where you can set up, you just kind of tap the brakes on what your game plan is to set up a ultimate win for your side. I mean, it's such a good feeling in Magic. You know, that's probably exactly what that Vampiric Tutor ended up being. Was, all right, let's just let you just tick up that Garruk Primal Hunter and then do the work for me. It's pretty good. So now the other thing is if we can just buy some time, and let's see if they decide to swing in. Yeah, they're going to swing in with the whole crew. So I guess at this point, I think we still end up blocking because that's going to be, we'll leave up an extra zombie because that's going to be 6, 12, 18. I guess either way, it probably doesn't really matter. So we might as well just eat up as much damage as possible. So that's going to be 12. That's going to put us down to 22. And then let's see what we rip into for the turn. We've got Mana Crypt. We're going to choose Tails on this bad boy. 1 the flip, 1 for 1 on those. And since we have no extra land drop source right now, Life from the Loam is not that good. Ooh. I think that does. Oh, excuse me. That's going to only do it to creatures with flying. Okay. So let's go and exile a Mystic Confluence. Oh, that was a bummer. I was thinking we could get some good stuff done. Let's still end up going for Nyela's Intervention. I think we'll just, at this point, we're just going to completely tap out for as much. If we open ourselves up to any sort of counter spell, so be it. But I'd rather just get as many lands as possible. All right, so X is going to be 10. So we're going to go Nyela's Intervention for 10. And we'll see if that's going to get anything going on our side if they've got counter magic. I know they have a lot of lands from land tax. So we'll see what we can do. Oh, that's going to be Cryptic Command. They're going to bounce Klothys back to the hand. Let's go for a Stomping Ground. I'm not going to pay 2 life. That's going to give us an extra, and actually we should have played a Fetch Land out of the graveyard, because that would have allowed us to get 2 extra zombies. So we're going to block on 1. It's going to be 6, 12, 24, and then for 3. Yeah, they're going to get it on this one. We could have played Arid Mesa out of the graveyard, gotten 2 zombies, and that would have been 6, 12, 18, 21. And so either way, it still would have been pretty. I mean, we would have survived another turn, but we're still fighting these worm tokens. And to be perfectly honest, I'm looking at the deck list right now. There's nothing that we can do to deal with those 6/6 worm tokens out there. So a lot of this deck is set up to kind of, Hour of Devastation. This just typically you don't really see a lot of worm tokens from an Esper deck. So opponent's gonna get on this one. Good play by our opponent. That was just beautiful play. And if you enjoyed the video, or actually I'll see you in the next game. All right, bye. Welcome to Klothys, God of Destiny. As far as our opening hand goes, yes, oh man, I like this hand, but we have to rip into a green source. And yeah, it's too risky, I think. If we just don't hit a green source. Yeah, I like this a lot better. There we go. We're going to keep on this one. We can definitely make this work. We need to put 1 card on the bottom. And I think at this point, we'll just end up putting Reckless Rage. I think that'll be good. Yeah, that's fine. Let's put Reckless Rage on the bottom. Click OK, and then our opponent's on the play, so we'll let them get this game started. But yes, welcome to some Klothys. Hope you're excited to get some red-green Gruul. mid-range control, whatever you want to call it. That's kind of what we're going for. We're playing Klothys, God of Destiny. Indestructible Devotion 7 turns into a creature. Then, at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, exile target creature card from a graveyard. If a land card, if it is a land card, add red or green to your mana pool. If not, then shock your opponent for 2 and you gain 2. Like a poor man's lightning helix. That's some good magic right there. Let's have force into the battlefield. Let's go for Elvish Mystic, and then anything else, pass it over to our opponent. Playing against Hogak, which if you are a dredge person in Modern, hey, there's a spot for you to use Hogak in Commander because you can't use it anywhere else. You got Hogak, can't spend mana to cast a spell, Convoke and Delve out of the graveyard. Then you may cast Hogak from your graveyard and trample. So we'll see if our opponent can get that assembled. Good thing we're playing against a graveyard deck because we have Klothys, which is going to be a very nice feeling. So let's go for Klothys. That's going to be, it's kind of like a turn 3 planeswalker that just pings your opponent or gives you mana. I mean, it's just it's good. Actually, we'll talk about yeah, because we did cover commanders. If you're keeping score at home, it's free time. Check that box because we're going to talk about Klothys. I love Klothys. Klothys is a wonderful commander. It's pretty much going to go in every single red-green deck that you're going to be building, any Jund deck that you're building. It's just such a nice effect. It's the exact same thing as Deathrite Shaman. It's a planeswalker without being an actual planeswalker. You simply just get it down. It's just like a rotisserie chicken. I know I mentioned it already, but I really want to highlight that because I like that reference. But you just set it and forget it. You get down Klothys. You're going to be able to like kind of ping your opponent. I don't know how I'm going to edit these videos together, but in a previous video, I was able to get in, 2 or 3 Klothys triggers. That's 6 damage for simply just casting out 3 mana. And then the fact that it's going to ramp for you too, I mean, it's just such a nice feeling. And our opponent's going to be able to connect with Grim Flayer. So that's going to allow them to dig into their library. We will probably want to end up exiling Sidisi Undead Vizier. And this is also just goes to show you how good it is. We're playing against a graveyard deck to where that's going to give us the leg up in this particular match. So let's go and exile Sidisi because that's going to be the important part right now. We could exile that Marsh Flash, but since we've got Wooded Foothills with Skyshroud Claim, we are in a very good position to go from here. So let's go and crack Wooded Foothills. Let's grab ourselves a land. I think we'll grab Taiga Uppercut. Let's grab Taiga. Let's go for Skyshroud Claim. Let's go ahead and add 2 mana because they're going to enter the battlefield untapped. So if we do have 2 basics, Cinderglades, and you have 2 more. Yeah, we'll grab Cinderglade, and then we'll end up grabbing a Stomping Ground. Yeah, that's fine. We'll shock this one in. Let's go for Sylvan. That way we at least have another creature. Yeah, and we can actually just hold up Grim Flayer now. That's going to be good. So anything else, we'll let her pass turn over our opponent. So but yeah, Klothys is a wonderful commander. Whether you're running it as the main commander or you're running it as a support card, it's just going to be it's 3 mana. It's cost really aggressively. It's perfect for whatever you want to be doing. And so I just highly recommend it. I don't know what the current price of, I can't remember what the current price of Klothys is, right? Ooh, we got Hardcast Vengevine coming in. Heck yeah, I'm loving our opponent's deck. It looks beautiful. Got the Soul Ring and the full art Vengevine. They're swinging in for 4. We're going to stop Grim Flayer. I know he has some trample, but Sylvan's going to throw her Forest Ways up and kind of stop that. And this does remind me, I need to play Hogak. It's been a long time since I've done that. All right, so we've got Gurk Primal Hunter. Let's go ahead and... So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have potentially 8 mana, which is not enough for everything that we want to do. So let's just get rid of Ravenous Chupacabra. That way we can just kind of keep the board clear and just kind of negate some of these attack steps that our opponent's going for. Now, if we end up going Chandra, that might be good, but I think I kind of like going Gurk Primal Hunter because that's going to allow us to keep up all of our creatures. That's going to give us, I think, Devotion for Klothys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. That's going to make it a 4/5. In fact, let's just pass the turn. We're not in a, one of the cool things about this deck is that you can just sit back in a defensive manner and then, kind of ping your opponent's graveyard with Klothys or at least exiling non-land stuff and just start pinging your opponent out or using something like Chandra, Hour of Devastation to kind of clear the board up. But I think this is going to be a pretty good spot for us just to do that and pass it back over there. But yeah, like I mentioned, Klothys, it's just, and the other cool thing about Klothys is it's going to enable you to do any sort of gameplay strategy that you want because the good thing about Klothys is it's just a good utility card. It's like having Deathrite Shaman as your commander. You're going to be building a graveyard deck probably with Deathrite Shaman, but that pushes you into Golgari Control. control. That puts you into Golgari fun stuff. It puts you into whatever sort of build a Golgari you want. It's just going to help you. It's just like having a mana dork out of the command zone. It's going to enable any sort of game plan. So if there's a red-green deck that you want to build, if you want to build Dragon Tribal, if you want to do whatever, make Klothys your commander, because the good thing about her is that she's not tied to how good the deck is. You know, she's just good on her own. She's just a good, you know, it's just like having pocket aces off to the side and in your command zone. It's just always nice to see them. You're not going to always win, but it does give you a really nice advantage going forward. So opponent's going to go for Liliana. They're going to go for the +1, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token, and then -3. And so, with them having an active Life from the Loam, we're probably going to end up grabbing that Life from the Loam. Simply because in a graveyard deck, Life from the Loam, that's pretty much what you want. And so we're going to try to stop that. So let's see if we're going to get old Vengevine swinging in. Luckily, we've built a pretty nice kind of wall of defense over here. Now, we do have to watch out for the zombie token, but I think what we'll probably end up doing is just going for that -3 with Guruk. That way we can just cash in some card draw, and that's going to be pretty good. So, all right, so we run into 3 visits. Let's go and exile that Life from the Loam. And as a graveyard player, this hurts very much to be doing this, to exile Life from the Loam, and I cannot tell you how much that hurts. Because I love the ground. I'm Golgari and Sultai, so that that does hurt. All right, so we run into Nature's Claim, 3 visits. Yeah, I think we still. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's not going to be enough. We can go Thundermaw, Hellkite, and then we can just come screaming in at. And actually, while we don't have a Planeswalker on the battle, I think Hour of Devastation is going to be the best bet for us. So if we end up going 3 visits, now if we end up doing that, that's going to send a lot of stuff to the graveyard. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2. They need creatures for Hogak. Yeah, I think we're still okay with this either way. So we go for 3 visits. It's going to allow us to grab a forest card. Let's grab ourselves a forest. Let's go for Nature's Claim on Soul Ring. Now, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to set up a Hour of Devastation to clear the board up and then go for Chandra next turn. All right, so let's go for Hour of Devastation. That's going to deal some really nice damage to Liliana and make it a lot easier for us to go for Thundermaw Hellkite next turn. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over our opponent. We've got an open Klothys, and also if you hear a little baby cooing, I'm recording early in the morning, and if you don't know, my wife and I had a baby. She's 2 months old, and I fed her, and she's watching me play some Magic right now. So she likes what she just saw. She's going to be a control player when she grows up, I can tell. And she's like, oh, that Hour of Devastation was very, very good. I know, baby. It sure was. But yeah, she's been good so far. I mean, if you're new to MTGO Traders, you don't know me. My name's Jolt, and I have a gameplay channel. And yeah, that's it. Go check my channel out. I don't know where I was going with that, but that's why I do have baby Loretta with me. I'm not a full-time content creator. I just do it in my spare time. And so my shift is in the morning. And so there's a lot of times where baby girl's very cooperative, and she sits in her chair and she doesn't get fussy. So she's got her pacifier in her mouth now. And opponent's going to animate dead on. Yeah, I like this. This is Golgari scrounging with your fingernails right here. I like this. All right, so we're going to see Vengevine swinging in. The downside with animate dead is that it does give it a -1, and it looks like they're going to be convoking Hogak. So there we go. I was hoping that we'd be able to kind of stop that, but yeah, we'll see. An 8/8, I mean, it's not the end of the world. We got Thundermaw Hellkite screaming in, and we've got Chandra available too. So the main thing is they've got some good life gain. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be 7 total mana. Either way, we're not going to be able to do both of our creatures, and that's going to be Nature's Lore. Yeah, we need to deal with Liliana. So let's do this. So let's go and exile Skyshroud Claim out of our graveyard. It's going to ping our opponent, give us a little bit of extra life gain. And we end up going for 3 visits, and that's going to be just enough for Thundermaw. Yeah, that should be good. All right, so we're going to go for Nature. I said 3 visits, but Nature Lore, excuse me. Let's grab ourselves a forest. Let's go for Thundermaw Hellkite. And oh my goodness, just having Thundermaw Hellkite come screaming down with that haste, it is such a good feeling. So we're going to have Thundermaw Hellkite come down. Our opponent might have some spot removal. They do have 2 mana available right now. So if that's the case, so be it. They've got it. But if not, then we're going to go and swing in and take care of Liliana, like we tried to set it up. So let's go and swing it at Liliana. Let's get rid of that. We are looking at 13 coming across the next turn, so 13, it's going to be 26. We are looking at a 2-turn clock from our opponent with Hogak out there. So One good thing would be is Hogak does have trample, so that's gonna hurt pretty bad. If we can somehow get devotion back online, that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we can get devotion back online for Klothys, that will allow us to at least kind of eat up some of that combat damage from Hogak. So that's pretty much going to be our game plan for next turn. But if our opponent gets this game, hey, well played by our opponent. Can't tell you, he's a graveyard player. It's a little hard sometimes when your opponent gets just kind of leads when they have a graveyard hate commander out of the command zone. It's a little hard to get your game plan going. So they've been doing good so far. Now it's going to be birthing pod. Let's see what they end up sacrificing. That's going to be 1, 2. All right, Vengevine. So we're looking at 5 coming down. So let's see what the what's in store for us. And that's going to be Lord of Extinction. Oh, look how pretty that is too. That is a beautiful Lord of Extinction. Okay, and then we run into Vesuva. Okay, so let's go ahead and exile, just to kind of keep Vengevine out of the equation. Let's go and exile Vengevine. That's going to give us a little bit extra life gain, attack our opponent's life total. Let's go Chandra. I think at this point, we're just kind of gonna be on the back end right now. Just kind of going on the defensive maneuver. Let's go for the +1. Yeah, let's do that. Exile the top card of our library. Hopefully it's a devotion option. That would keep our fingers crossed. Anger of the Gods. You may cast that card. At least it's going to get rid of Zombie. I mean, it's better than nothing. And nothing's going to happen to Thundermaw Hellkite. The only downside is we need to leave up something to deal with Lord of Extinction. Well, bless you, baby. Yeah, I don't think we need to. Yeah, I don't think we're going to cast it right now. We're just going to deal a little bit extra damage to our opponent. No, yeah, because if I mean, we're going to get rid of the zombie. No, I guess we will, because that gives us a little bit of extra. Yeah, we'll go and cast that. That's going to be red, because it's going to get rid of zombie. That's going to allow us to keep our Thundermaw Hellkite, and we still keep it back on defense. And let's see. We'll have Vesuva enter the battlefield as any certain thing that we want to. I guess we'll have it enter the battlefield as a copy of Temple of Malady, I guess. Simply just get a little extra scry and some scurry going, a little bit of fever. And so, Nesting Dragon. You get a 0/2 dragon. I think that actually does work out. It's going to give us devotion, and if we hit a land, especially a fetch land, and that's going to give us some extra dragons, and then we can try to deal with Hogak. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to put that on top. That's actually not a bad option. So anything else is going to pass the turn over our opponent. We're going to hold back Thundermaw Hellkite to probably block on Lord of Extinction. Yeah. They get in for 12. We can either block on Hogak to kind of stop the... Well, actually, this is going to have trample, so either way, they're going to be able to get it. Now, with this drawing into Nesting Dragon, we're not going to have a way to make a land drop. So, yeah, now that I think about that, that's going to be pretty rough. Yeah, that was just a wonderful play with that Animate Dead on Hogak. I was really thinking that they weren't going to be able to get down Hogak once we kind of clear the board out with Average Devastation, but they were able to bounce back just beautifully from that. They still do have an open Birthing Pod on Lord of Extinction. I'm not really that familiar with the Birthing Pod build of Hogak, so we could see Hogak being sacrificed to Birthing Pod, but at this point in the game, they're in a better position to kind of grind this game out. So we're going to have to block Thundermaw Hellkite on Lord of Extinction. There we go. It's going to put 16 total commander damage, and that's going to put us down to 10. And so, yeah. And we've got Nesting Dragon on top of our line. I just don't think that does it next turn. We've got some extra mana. I guess we can still end up casting Nesting Dragon and then end up going for Chandra? Yeah, we still need to go for that trigger. So let's go for Animate Dead. That's going to give us a little bit of extra life gain. Put them down to 17. Let's go. Let's cast Nesting Dragon first. That way, if the exile effect out of our library is something that we need, we might be able to go for that. I don't know. Just trying to manage the best bet. 4 damage target. Yeah, let's go for the +1. Let's see what the exile effect is. By force, destroy X artifacts. And Lord of Extinction is definitely not an artifact, and that is definitely not an artifact. So I think that's going to be it. Because we can Birthing Pod, and then we have to block on Lord of Extinction. They got lethal. They've got Hogak swinging in for lethal. Yeah, that's gonna... I mean, we'll still end up popping Birthing Pod, but... There we go. But I still don't think that's gonna Yeah, there's not much that we can do. So, all right, we're going to go and pass turn over. Good game by our opponent. They're going to have that Lord of Extinction coming in. We toss Nesting Dragon in front of Lord of Extinction. That's going to, stop that 14, but then they've got 24 commander damage on the back end. We block Nesting Dragon on Hogak. Then we can go for that. So, well played by our opponent. It's always nice to see a fun matchup like this, and especially as being a Golgari player at heart, it's always nice to see something like this. So there we go. All right, swinging in for that's going to be 22. That's going to knock us down and close the game out. So, like I mentioned, well played by our opponent. We kind of never really had them against the wall, but we did what this deck wants to do and just be a really nice mid-range option out early game. That Animate Dead on Vengevine, help them get down Hogak, and then when you got an 8/8 trample with Hogak, it's a little hard to deal with that sometimes, especially if you don't just have some good universal removal. So, anyways, I'll catch you in the next game. All right, bye.